Hello and welcome once again to the CGW Radio podcast. This is Jeff Green, the editor-in-chief of Computer Gaming World magazine, and I have 3 CGW editors with me today, and they include the following.
Sean Elliott.
Darren Gladstone.
Sean Malloy.
And kids, it's a little scary here today because we are flying without a net. There's no... the guys who have produced our podcast in the past are not in the room. Instead, taking the soundboard is our own Sean Malloy over there.
Yep.
How you feeling, Sean?
I mean, it's a little nervous.
Are you nervous?
A little bit.
And we're
scary. There's some
And we're also flying without a Ryan Scott today.
Oh, and no Ryan Scott.
Yeah.
Right. So should we get it out of the way? Should we bring up Guild Wars now?
Factions.
Guild Wars Factions.
Okay.
I just hit level 20, for the 30th time.
Yeah.
Didn't you hear that they have 2 million subscribers now?
How's that?
Done.
Okay, so it's as if he was here.
So Ryan, good luck on the root canal. See you next week, buddy.
Oh, yeah. We shouldn't make fun of Ryan. He's getting yet another root canal.
Yeah. This one's been rough, apparently.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. I think the lesson to all you out there is brush your teeth. In fact,
and floss.
Plus 20 Pepsodent. It's going to help.
Yeah. If you're listening to this podcast right now, if you're listening now and you haven't flossed in the last 24 hours, go ahead and get a piece of floss out right now while you listen.
On the bus, doesn't matter. Go for it.
That's what I'm saying. Sean, are you nervous? Are you okay over there?
I think I'm fine. I think I can handle this.
All right. You got a little bit of a deer in the headlights sort of look.
Well, I'm watching all of these lights flashing, so it's pretty scary.
Hypnotic.
Oh, so it's kind of like one of those color organs from the 70s. Should put on some Pink Floyd for you over there. Okay, so we've had a bit of an odd week because Sean and Elliot. That's great. Sean, Elliot, and Darren were out of town. I was actually out of town this weekend. So does that mean we've been playing any games? Any PC games?
A lot of Golden Tee golf.
Golden Tee golf.
the game for all vacationers.
Yes, it is.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, I was playing. Besides Good Brother, seeing my sister get married. Congratulations, Carrie.
Woo! Yay.
I also was playing Titan Quest.
I played like the first level of that.
Yeah, I'm kind of like. I'm still in like. I basically got to Sparta. Is that how far you got?
Yeah. I don't know. I got one of those, if your mom says if you got nothing nice to say sort of things going on with Titan Quest. But it's early yet. The
one thing I kept thinking is, the game looks pretty.
It looks very pretty.
And I guess when I'm playing it, I'm thinking, what Age of Empires did to Warcraft. Mm-hmm. This is kind of what Titan Quest is doing to like a Diablo game.
Okay.
So it's kind of
right now. All I was seeing is just way too much Diablo.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Like it was like a skin for Diablo, Yeah, it's 3D.
So the one thing I think it could be a strong selling point could be the map making tool. I haven't played around with it yet, but
does it do random dungeons or is it?
Gosh, I haven't even played enough to know that.
Yeah,
so my opinion doesn't
think
count
so.
yet.
That was one of the only things that to criticize Diablo. The only things I didn't like about it is the randomness because there's
really
it's not. They're not random.
Wow, you didn't like
in this. Or they're
not random?
From the last preview I edited. So I didn't write it, but no.
Sean, how come you didn't like the randomness of Diablo?
I like level design. I like when people can intentionally put a room in a spot and like it's there for a reason because this is where they want to ramp up the challenge.
Yeah.
I understand that, Diablo is all about, and I love Diablo. That was the only thing. Right. I was like, I wish they had actually, designed a few of these levels instead of just kind of had, the algorithm make them. And the algorithm was really good at making them.
Right.
But
I guess the only real downside
it's got me worried about Hellgate, just because, just in the most general way, in that, like, in my experience, the randomly generated content is usually boring content. It's not, it doesn't have the polish of design where it's constructed very carefully and deliberately to create, different paths of, of progress and action and this and that. And I think the last experience I had with the randomly generated content was horrible, and that was that PSP game.
Which one was that?
What was the one? It was
like the Champions of Nora?
No, it was the one where you're inside. It was supposed to. It was a Konami first-person shooter.
Oh no,
and you're
Coded Arms.
Coded Arms, yeah.
Wow.
And it was just like, basically, hello, dead ends and back and forth.
I would think a shooter wouldn't play itself out as well, though, as a Diablo-style game.
Right. Well, I understand some of the concerns, and I think Hellgate actually. Obviously it's not out yet; it has a lot of time before it's ready. But I think there's some. They are looking to address those problems. And when I was, doing the cover story a couple months back, they were saying how when they're putting the game together, they're actually creating algorithms that are actually doing putting a lot of elements together inside each room and each environment that you're playing, and it's not like haphazardly slapped together. It makes some kind of sense.
Right. I guess in Diablo, I mean, the algorithms must have been such that certain things had to happen, right? I mean, obviously, like the butcher is put there. No matter what, on level 3, the boss is going to be there.
Right. It just kind of constructs a maze a little differently around getting there.
Right. Mm-hmm. I think in terms of the visual experience, expectations were a lot lower then, too.
Yeah.
Now it's like if you see that same, I don't know, what would it be in Titan Quest? You see that same Scorpion Cave 1,000 times in a row.
Right.
I don't know, maybe not.
Well, I'm definitely willing to give it another chance.
Well, it has been Scorpion. It's been mostly satyrs so far.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I still want to play more of it. I'm not ready to judge it yet. I just was expecting something a little different than Diablo, and it plays for. I mean, as you go through the tutorial mission, everything that they show you, one of the townspeople, and here's the place where you'll resurrect. Everything was like, oh yeah, that's a Diablo feature. Oh yeah, that's a Diablo feature.
Oh look, there's the town portal. And
exactly. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, well, there was one thing that kind of bummed me out. I mean, maybe it'll be addressed later on, but you pick that one kind of the direction your character class is going to go, or rather, I should say the skill sets you're going to choose, and you can't go back. Once you make that decision, it's all over, and you just kind of go. It seems like you just go forward from there.
So which Diablo clones have kind of like out Diablo?
I can't
I'd say none.
Yeah, nothing's really popping to my mind either.
Well, I remember actually before this, I was actually like looking back over a couple other older games I remember playing. Anyone remember Nox?
Yep.
I thought
that was pretty good.
That was a pretty good Diablo clone. Did a decent job.
But see, that's all you can ever say, though. It's like it's exactly a decent Diablo clone. There's never one that made you say, "Okay, this is better."
Yeah,
most of us still have Diablo on our hard drives.
That's pretty interesting for a gaming genre. Well, it seems like everything else. It's like it's something that's going to trump it in 5 years, and it has, or at least there's a debate to be had about something. If you say, hey, what's it's not like there's just one shooter that's the only one that people will say is the big granddaddy and still by far the best.
Right. I mean, in real-time strategies, I mean, Blizzard almost did it, but not quite, right? I mean, because you could argue that StarCraft kind of supplanted Warcraft, but there's plenty of people who would take Age of Empires over StarCraft or Rise of Legends now. I mean, there's all sorts of the Command and Conquer series.
And they've all definitely done something to it and changed it in significant ways.
Well, it's an interesting genre because you could argue that the more complicated it gets, if you start adding these layers, then suddenly you're going away from what makes it, Diablo.
Right.
Whereas like an RTS, you kind of want these extra strategic layers. Or
Diablo was just killing and chopping.
Yeah, and there's not even that much interface streamlining to be done. Whereas like in RTS, there was since StarCraft, there's been a lot of changes just in how interfaces work.
I almost
maybe
feel like,
it was just perfect.
I almost feel like in order to make a game that's going to supplant a Diablo, instead of trying to focus on like basically doing the same thing that I did but a little better, just try to take it in a different offshoot direction, make it more like action based.
What about Guild Wars? Isn't Guild Wars?
Well, Guild Wars is.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Kind of is. Ryan wouldn't argue that.
Yeah.
Ryan would say it's an MMO.
Here. 2 million people couldn't
the natural
agree.
Successor to Diablo 2.
He doesn't even need to be here. We're actually doing all the talking for him.
Speaking of, I played a few mods when I got back, and while the levels were not randomly generated, in some cases they might as well have been. One of them is Troy Divine Playground I mentioned before.
That was funny.
And it's a university project, and I felt bad. It's like when it first came out, when the beta first came out, quite a few servers up, and then now when I went on to play, there were 2 servers. One was occupied. And the unfortunate thing for this game, I mean, again, to recap, is it's basically Trojans versus Greeks, and it's a cool idea in that you have a bunch of AI controlled bots on your side, and you're able, as you're the one you're controlling dies, you're able to take over the other ones. But they're all brain dead, which is a big problem, but they're able to aim really well. So it's like you'll see a guy standing in a corner somewhere, but spear sniping you across the entire map.
Through walls and stuff.
And then other few, I'm getting to the real messed up part of the game, but other funny things are that you have this growl. It's like this godly growl, and it's supposed to whip up the enemy into fear and submission. But basically what happens is they do this little dance like they have to go pee. So you run up through a whole mob of the enemy's defenses. and the growl is more like a constipated, like, groaning, And so you run through them, and you're like, and and then all of a sudden their whole army is just sitting there, just dancing.
I'd be afraid.
That's kind of like what we hear out of Darren's office once a day.
Yeah. Okay, so the messed up thing in terms of the level design is that you really appreciate about the published games is that you're not participating in the beta process, and that basically with these mods you're doing it, but you realize just what work it really is. Because I mean, I think in the first day of playing it, we found all these ways to exploit it where you're supposed to get over this castle wall and you have these ladders. So within minutes, we were like, okay, let's wait for our teammates to get up the ladder and just pull the ladder out from under them and laugh at them. And we kept doing that. And then after that, I'd climb the wall, take the ladder myself, and then go and run and get it and climb up buildings that they clearly hadn't intended me to climb on. Take the ladder back up there with me and then just drop bombs on everyone the entire game while being untouchable.
But doesn't that give you new respect for games where the exploits are all gone?
Yeah,
like,
it's incredible. It's like, why? Yeah, I mean, it's like for us editing like an encyclopedia series or something, you know?
Right.
I mean, single-handedly. And then another cool mod I was playing, a cool mod I was playing, it was Zombie Strike. It's for Counter-Strike. It's really simple. There are two iterations of it. One is basically you and, your friends, the actual players, face off waves of zombies, blast them. And then the other version, once you're, it's competitive, and once you're killed by a zombie, you become one then. Both pretty fun, nice, simple diversion from the usual Counter-Strike. And then the down point on that, though, in the versus mode, is that the maps, again, weren't designed for it. So the exploits now are that everyone with the guns goes and finds some ledge to camp. And you'll see, like, everyone on each other's shoulders, and you'll see a mountain of, like, 10 dudes blasting anything that's forced to funnel down one route.
Do that look like zombies, though?
No, those are the humans that haven't been zombified.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so you just see the zombies abortively rushing at you, and you just keep blasting them.
Are the zombie skins cool?
They're all from Half-Life. Yeah, they're pulled from Half-Life 2. So.
So it's all like the head crab zombies.
Oh, the head crab dude.
Yeah, and there's other, basically, the ones that rush really quickly at you, the ones from Ravenholm. If you took off the head crab on them, they're like these emaciated, wasted little things. So that's their benefit. They're really hard to hit, and their heads are like these little pins, and that's their only weak point. So it's pretty cool. I definitely recommend it.
Zombies are always cool. Thank God for zombies.
Yeah.
They can rescue practically any game.
That reminds me, actually, like that one feature that you talk about from Zombie Strike is the one thing I wish they added in games like for Stubbs the Zombie. That'd have been so cool if you had like a multiplayer mode where you could just like create a whole zombie horde and then if you get and then have humans versus zombies.
I could not get into Stubbs the Zombie. I just couldn't.
I wanted to.
I was
giving it the benefit of the doubt, and
I wanted it to be scarier and less tongue in cheek. I wanted scary zombies, not like farting zombies.
Right. Yeah, I think
going into it, you're getting farting zombies, though.
I know. Sorry, I mean, I'm sure zombies probably really do fart.
I'm sure they do.
In real life, the real zombies.
Yeah, that was like the over the top. Like that was the part. It was a little over the top and not necessary.
Yeah,
a lot of full on total conversion zombie mods for Source are still in development right now. Check back on those later.
And we'll have a zombie watch next week.
Well, Stubbs also kind of like laid out the fact that zombies are really slow, and that's not necessarily all that fun to control and play.
Also, we know from 28 Days Later they're actually fast.
That's true.
Man,
it's been proven now.
I think that's a special breed.
Here we go with the slow zombie, fast zombie debate.
Oh, boy. That's a whole separate this week's special podcast.
Yeah. Oh, in that case, keeps tuned for Dead Island. It's from Techland. It's a Polish developer. They're working on it. It's kind of like a survival horror game on a desert island. So it's...
Are they slow or fast?
Both.
Oh, there it is.
Best zombie game ever. Corpse Killer.
The slow ones are really strong, and the fast ones.
Wow, way to pull that one out.
Wow, holy mackerel.
Digital Pictures Roxors.
Did we all play Corpse Killer here in this room?
Yep.
We did.
Damn, that was one awful game.
What was that creepy actor's name from that game? Bald dude. He's like, I've seen like a billion movies.
Telly Savalas.
Not Telly Savalas.
Mr. Clean.
I don't know.
How many bald
that?
guys?
There was someone famous in that?
Well, not famous.
Captain Picard?
I'm going to look this up later. He's like a B actor. I've seen him in a bunch of things. But...
Have a mustache?
Yeah, like a kind of like a goatee-ish kind of thing.
I don't know.
Ricardo Montalban.
Rich Corinthian level.
Okay, never mind.
All right.
Speaking of no, that's not speaking of. That was my lame attempt at a transition.
That was the worst.
There wasn't one. Speaking of the WoW movie, I was going to bring up. Well, we were talking about Blizzard before, so we know there's a World of Warcraft movie announced,
really,
which is already kind of scary.
That's news to me.
But there's a rumor floating around on our very own website, so it must be true that Steven Spielberg is is pondering directing it.
Pondering.
So will it be a...
I call bullshit on that. Like, that's just the biggest fanboy. I heard Steven Spielberg. David Lynch is going to be doing it.
Now, David Lynch World of Warcraft movie I'd go see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, what Steven Spielberg would this be the Jaws? Would it be the E.T., the Schindler's List, or the Munich?
Yeah.
Or AI?
Or AI. Or what are some of the other bad ones?
Saving Private Ryan is a good
1942?
Yeah.
Actually, that was all right.
I can't possibly see that actually being true. That's so crazy.
How could a World of Warcraft movie
we
be
know
good
immediately
no matter
who the hell's going to direct it.
Yeah, I know who you want to say. Uwe?
Yeah.
What
Hervé Villechaise's son.
Why do people have to direct?
I don't know. What the heck would the movie be about? Why would I've put in a lot of hours into World of Warcraft.
It's going to be like remember the damn Dungeons and Dragons movie?
Oh God, with Damon.
And they're going to try to make it funny, and there's going to be like some ding joke, and someone's going to level up in the movie.
Right, people will be dancing.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be about the Sunwell trilogy.
You should be ashamed.
Wow,
if you're listening,
that was scary, Sean.
If someone's listening,
but maybe you're right,
and heard you say, World of Warcraft movie, and immediately they were like, "Whoa, you need to slow down."
I know.
You need to step away from that.
The guys at Blizzard, you joked about the Sunwell trilogy, but they actually did make a pretty good backstory to the Warcraft.
Oh, when I was at BlizzCon, I sat on that lore panel.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Like, he was just going off about all of this stuff that they're thinking about, and like it's kind of in some of the quest text if you're paying attention, but it really is. But yeah, they think about all this stuff all the time. And
I mean, it is pretty close to a lot of fantasy genre stuff.
Yeah,
but
they could easily.
A Lord of the Rings trilogy sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a lot of lore to draw
like
on.
the game. That's the thing.
Right.
What if the movie is about like a level 1 guy?
A rags to riches story.
It sounds like it would be more
collecting
of a Warcraft
tales.
Yeah, Warcraft story rather than like a World of Warcraft story.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You have to collect 5 Morlock fins.
You just see like
5 minutes of the movie.
Or even like, when they have like the climatic battle with a Nixie or something, you see the characters are waiting in line for someone else to kill it.
Let it respond.
They go up and kill it.
And like and the leader of your guild is going, what the fuck?
That might put a damper on your heroic ending of the movie if there's like another group waiting.
I'm thinking
Sauron respawns at the end.
Okay, so we're saying Spielberg's probably not going to direct this.
I don't know. If Peter Jackson's doing Halo, he's not directing that necessarily. He's producing it.
It's going to make a lot of money no matter who directs it. I mean, they don't need to attach someone like.
I mean, if he's producing it, that's a totally different story.
Right.
Like that I might buy, but I don't think he'd ever sit down and direct the thing.
I'd worry about who Spielberg would cast in the World of Warcraft movie too.
Elijah Wood.
Yeah, Reese Witherspoon is Thrall. I don't know. It didn't make any sense.
Macaulay Culkin.
So I've been playing a lot of Half-Life 2 Episode 1. I finally jumped on that bandwagon. Reinstalled Steam on my machine reluctantly, but then it actually worked really well. I'm here to say I actually am a fan of Steam now. I never thought I'd say it because, boy, did I hate it when it first came out. But actually, it worked pretty much like a dream, as you said it would.
It works well.
Well, it took, I think it took them after the first 6 months after Half-Life 2 launched, and then it was kind of like it got a lot of the bugs ironed out.
Did you get the box copy, or did you buy the digital version?
I just bought it digitally online. Okay. I bought it late at night, and in the morning it was installed on my machine. Mm-hmm. So I've been actually having a lot of crashes in the game, but I'm not blaming Steam. I'm blaming my old video card, I think. However, I do like the game a lot. And the thing I'm liking about it the most, and I think I got to say I'm enjoying it more than Half-Life 2 itself, is I like the pacing a little better, and I think that the puzzles are a bit more creative. I've actually had to stop and think a few times, much more than in Half-Life. I mean, everything ends up being kind of obvious, but some of the stuff is really creative. The elevator was awesome, with the debris falling on you as you're going down, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I would say, even though it's minimal, I just going back to this, I think it's really cool how they develop the interacting between the different characters. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. I was just doing this past weekend. I was doing a compare contrast with Sin episodes and Half-Life because I'm doing the review for Sin, and I'm reminded of how good a job Valve does with storytelling.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah, I actually can't think of anybody else who really does it like that, who tells a story, and a good story, actually in the game without the need to break away to a cutscene, without an overabundance of exposition. You know, they're actually like just hearing the stuff on the loudspeakers as you go by, like as you're gaming, really kind of fills in details in a way that I just don't see anybody else doing.
It definitely makes cutscenes just seem completely, passé now.
Well, I think most people are kind of removing the cutscenes, but you still have that omnipotent operator who knows, who the handler back at home base who is always barking out commands and orders or telling you what's up.
Do you guys, the first time you play a game, do you sit through the cutscenes?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
I end up skipping them.
You have to get a feel for what the story's about.
I'm first to skip.
I'm the kind of guy. Yeah, I'm the kind of guy who, like, if everything's printed out on the screen that someone just said and I already read it all, I'll still listen while they read it.
Okay. Wow. No wonder you're managing editor. Because that's
just looking for typos.
and then proper diction.
Yeah, there's a lot of typos in the Heroes of Might and Magic 5 cutscenes. In the subtitles.
Lost in translation kind of stuff.
Yeah. Getting the cut line. So we're going to break for our sponsor, and we'll be back in a minute.
One Up Network Radio is being brought to you by Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter Chapter 2 content. That's an all-new downloadable content package coming up for Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. Chapter 2 includes 4 all-new missions, along with 8 relit GRAW maps, 5 new weapons, and new game types to extend the Xbox Live experience. It's available for the Xbox 360 at the end of June on Xbox Live Marketplace. Hi, this is Garnet Lee, host of One Up Yours. Every week in the month of June, One Up Radio, along with And One Street Ball, is giving away $100 iTunes Music Store gift cards. All you have to do is listen to One Up Yours this Friday afternoon to learn how to win. Or you can find the contest rules at our message boards. That's boards.oneup.com. $100 in iTunes goodness courtesy of And One Street Ball and the One Up Radio Network. Sony Computer Entertainment takes no responsibility for this offer.
And we're back, see? Wow. That was so fast.
Through the magic of radio.
It's like we didn't even hear it. But whatever that was, it's a fine sponsor.
It's a wonderful, wonderful product.
And we highly recommend that you get it, whatever the heck it was.
So you just proved
the magic of
Bobby
radio.
from Activision wrong.
Right. That's right. I was going to read you guys a quote that showed up apparently in the New York Times this morning. And if this quote is wrong and he didn't say this, then I blame oneup.com. Because this was on their front page that I scribbled it down. It says, this is the CEO of Activision said this in an article about games. He said, quote, "The idea of full downloadable games is so far in the future that it's almost incomprehensible."
Boy, that's wackiness. What would Valve do without him?
What was the
Doesn't
context
that give
for
like a big WTF?
Yeah.
Well, the context of that was the sales of video games in general, decline in the CD market, and how are we going to pump things back up. I don't think that was the point of the article, but I think that's something he said along the way.
Yeah, because he's not even just saying, it's an idea whose time will come, but we don't know exactly when it will come across the board.
Yeah,
it's like, it's
so
incomprehensible.
I think it's incomprehensible to him, maybe, but like it's
do we
there.
need to send him to Valve.com or Telltale Games or Bone?
Or how about he boots up that Xbox 360 and looks at all the stuff happening on Live Arcade? I mean.
Yeah, I think it goes on to say that, he and some of the other folks who are still not completely sold are more into the idea of downloadable content of a game that you've already bought on a disc. Mm-hmm. Like that they can get behind. Mm-hmm. But the idea of fully being able to buying a full game online, he sees as apparently incomprehensible because it's so far in the future.
Was he referring just to consoles or PCs? Or obviously, if he's referring to PCs,
if he's referring to PC,
you can do that already. So I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm hoping he was just referring to console games. I mean, in that respect, I could see some sense, but.
Let's say he's full of crap anyway.
All right.
Just kidding. Big hard drive on the PS3. So.
No, we're just kidding. We love Activision.
And way to take a stand there.
Sorry. Every month there's some publisher mad at us. So maybe it's Activision this month.
Yeah,
We eagerly await the phone calls.
Right? It's not them. I mean, that's just. I mean, but if that really is his perspective, and it really is about PC games, that says a lot, don't you think? I mean, that says that there's huge perception humps to get over here.
Yeah.
If the head of a game company is really thinking that, and even if it is about the console.
Well, I guess the thing is, like, we're the early adopters.
Yeah, we are.
So we're the guys buying into this advanced technology. It's the people at Target and Walmart, the people that are making the major sales to keep these companies afloat.
But those same people that buy at games at Target, Walmart now are already used to downloading ringtones for their cell phones. I
Very
think.
true.
Getting music that way. I mean, I think they're all the cards are in place.
Right, but it's a big difference when you're talking about like a 2 gigabyte game.
Right, and that's
Well,
why
that's
hard drive
the
space,
problem.
and that's why I pointed out like PS3 is going to have quite an enormous hard drive on it by console standards.
Yeah, but how big is that hard drive?
And you can also swap them out on the Xbox. So I mean, it's definitely not incomprehensible on either of those. I mean, that's to say if he's talking about that space.
Yeah, I think it's the extreme of that quote is what's kind of surprising,
Well,
right?
in all fairness, though, you know how much journalists suck, and sometimes they do have.
Especially on 1UP.
Wait a second.
Oh my goodness.
Hey now. No, but sometimes they'll have an agenda, and they'll like selectively pull that quote apart.
That's true.
So maybe
We would never do that, though.
No, never.
Because we're
It was really
professionals.
like the boring Monday morning press release batch from Activision and scanned through it and found one slightly, possibly incendiary comment and made a story about that.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm just saying.
Maybe the
I'd like to
lesson
read
to
the
us is to
context
do a
of
little more research before we actually discuss something on the podcast.
So now I just killed 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So basically just killed
What
5
did he
minutes
actually
before-
say? I don't
Whoops,
know.
I forgot to record that section.
Oh, yeah. How's it going over there on the mixing board?
Pretty good. There's
Yeah?
still lines moving, which is very encouraging.
Okay.
Lots of beeping, lots of
Flashing.
blinking dots.
The red light that's not supposed to go on has not gone on.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Good.
Oh,
That means you got time to talk about your gaming lovers.
Okay. Now, when we say our gaming lovers, see, last week we actually talked about.
We're talking about that
talked about gaming
fool
lovers
that you're
last
always
week.
talking to in WoW.
We were talking about last week about online romance or whatever. We figured we could do it without you two in the room because it could actually be a mature discussion.
Oh, I see how it is.
We had Jane,
Ryan breaking down the sex talk.
Actually, it was Jane.
Ask Dr.
We had
Scott.
Jane from the 1UP show.
Oh,
in
That's
here,
right.
who up to the maturity level quite a bit. However, she is the one, as somebody pointed out to me in my blog comment. She said the word tits first.
She
So
did.
it was great because it totally opened it up to say it after she did. It's like, all right, the girl said it first.
And now that
Tits,
Jeff
tits.
just said it,
And
we
Now
can say
I've
as
opened
much
it
as
up
we
to
want.
you.
I have to listen to that podcast.
It was good. We said the word tits.
Apparently.
No, but when you say gaming lovers, I was actually, I meant our real life partners, spouses, whatever.
I know. I just said it because it sounds like goofy, like adult beef swelling.
You're my gaming lover. Because it's an issue we all face, isn't it? We're kind of all of us here in this room, and even Ryan, believe it or not, is in a relationship, and we have to. I shouldn't say that.
Ryan. And he was talking about sex.
If you're not here, if you can't make the podcast, that's what you get. Schedule your root canal for some other time.
Get your priorities straight, man.
Yeah.
Today's a lesson.
Yeah, no, we all to some degree have to deal with this. Let me just ask, Sean Elliott,
This is a topic I like to talk about.
does your partner play games?
Yeah,
and or tolerate you playing games?
she does, but yeah. So basically, I mean, along stereotypical lines, almost, where she's definitely she plays Bejeweled like crazy, Bonnie's Bookstore.
Girls love that stuff.
Right. All the PopCap games, big fiend for him, and then Nintendo games with me, DS, WarioWare, and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Definitely none of the shooters. And the problem then is that since I play all these damn shooters, is they all look like the same game to her. Mm-hmm. So I could be playing, Red Orchestra 1 minute, Call of Duty the next, and in the course of an hour, literally go through it, Odd and Counter-Strike, Battlefield, and I'm always playing the same game.
To her.
And right. Mm-hmm. And when I come, when I bring home a game and I'm like, hey, this is for review, I'm writing a story on this, I have to play it. And it's a Battlefield expansion. It's like, she's like, don't quit lying to me. I know what you're up to.
Just goofing off with the same old game.
So yeah, and it's tough because Yeah, I mean, you definitely. I mean, there's
kind of sad
times...
if she's sort of right.
Yeah. So that's
shooting
there.
guys again.
But the other thing is too is it's I think that anyone that's in a relationship has got to deal with it, that there's going to be some kind of disparity between the commitment to the gaming, and it's like there are definitely times when I want to come home and play and get in TeamSpeak and just yell and goof off and clown, and then she comes in from the other room and it's like, what the hell are you doing? Even the whole notion
are you embarrassed?
And now mom comes in the room.
Yeah, I don't know. You know me. I'm a pretty pretty immune to embarrassment, and I like to embarrass myself. So, but I'll just, I'll be on there talking in insane voices and stuff and harassing people.
You do that at home?
You actually hit on the one big out, though, that we all have here that your average gamer doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Which is, I'm doing this for review, for work.
But it's a double-edged sword, though, because it's like when you there will be times when you really are working, and at least
she'll think you're playing.
My girlfriend Melissa just doesn't buy it. She's like, or it's just because what we do is so divorced from so many people's notions of work. Yeah, because for one, a lot of people just assume all we do is sit around and play games, and we know that we definitely don't do that.
Actually, we don't.
But in the cases when the awesome part, when we do get to play games, it doesn't seem like work to anyone. And it really isn't at the same time. But the bottom line is we have to do it.
Well, that's why I walked by OPM today, Official PlayStation Magazine. I walked by Joe Rybicki's office. He's the executive editor. Yeah, he's sitting back in his chair with the guitar from Guitar Hero.
That's cool.
Playing it, I'm like, I can't believe this is some guy's job.
Yeah, that's amazing. Or just like, when episode 1 came out, I just spent the day playing that. And
yeah, but that really was your job.
Yeah, and that's good. But,
for me, it's kind of the I mean, there's a million things I could say, but one thing, just you saying about your girlfriend not buying it, sometimes what happens with my wife is the opposite, which is that if I tell her it's work, she's actually angry because she thinks I just work too much.
That's exactly what happens.
It's almost better if I say I'm just goofing off.
Yeah.
Because then she doesn't feel like, Ziff the man.
But then there's the other
again.
thing, too.
There's no in between, because like our hobby is what we do. What we love doing is also our job.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. When you go home and you're like, I've been at work all day and I'm fiending to play some Battlefield 2, and she's like, what are you talking about? You just played games all day. And I was like, no, I didn't. I haven't played a game at work in like 2 weeks. You can hear the tone of voice I'm used to doing this.
Actually, I
haven't played a damn game at work in 2 weeks.
The beleaguered gamer.
I think you actually have mic'd my apartment, because that's the same exact conversation I have half the time.
Yeah, I can't do that anymore because we've had too many arguments. I can't walk in the door and go to a game.
Play some games.
Oh, and by the way, this was...
Jeez, I have to pay attention to my wife and kid.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Jeez.
Yeah, this actually was going to be my column this month, but now I'm not going to do it. Thanks, guys.
No, you can still do it. I think this topic's pretty endless.
Yeah,
there's so much. There's so much good stuff. I mean, just thinking of it, I'm like.
Although the one thing I got to say though is, like, Amy, when we first started dating, she was in denial. She basically said that she's not a gamer at all. She hated stuff. She played Myst when she was younger, and that was about it. Mm-hmm. And then I introduced her to Grim Fandango, and every once in a while, like, I get my hands on a cool looking adventure game that she might like, and she starts playing it. And I introduced her to Guitar Hero, and she's hooked on that. So.
There is nothing I can do to get my wife into gaming.
That's too bad.
The thing that I learned, at least with
nothing at all.
You've tried
all the goochers.
Everything you could think of to throw at me.
Wow! Like even she was immune to Bejeweled.
Immune to Bejeweled.
Wow.
Immune to Bookworm. Immune to
Bejeweled.
Brain Age.
The only thing I found that worked for me was just like, 'cause basically I would have the controller in my hand and we'd do a puzzle game or an adventure game, and I'm like, Amy, boss me around. She knows how to do that, so.
My daughter totally gets it. She's
no, she's actually really cool.
Just
and my wife also. My wife walks in.
I'm thinking of you guys doing role playing and her boss and being the boss. Dude, that's what I got scared about.
Ew.
Shit! The podcast takes a nasty turn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, back on track.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky because my boyfriend is as into it as I am, if not more, in a lot of cases.
That is very cool.
So I got it
like
good.
Soul Calibur.
But do you have to like?
Yeah, pretty much. It's also dangerous.
Do you have to argue though over like the controller or the game or?
Sometimes, WoW is kind of what we settled on as the default thing when we can't agree on, like, well, do you want to play DOA? And like,
do you have two PCs set up?
Oh yeah.
So you guys can play together.
He's at his desktop, and I'm usually at the laptop on the couch.
And do you play together?
Oh, yeah.
Will you play WoW together?
This kind of thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
In fact, that's awesome.
Actually, I haven't tried that yet. I haven't tried to get her on MMOs yet. I'm afraid I might create a monster.
Yeah, I've done that now with my daughter. In fact, just today I got Egbert, my character, moved over to her server. So now we're going to play on the same server.
I've heard horror stories from friends who, were MMOing together, and then like they had different they got in different guilds or something, and then they like it ended in divorce.
Yeah,
like literally that was the conclusion.
That is unreal.
I'm just like I traced it backwards. I'm just like they got divorced over that game.
Look at the story Love Bites in our current issue,
exactly.
You know? It's like you get to the point where you're looking over each other's shoulder, at least some of the people in there, you know, they're looking over each other's shoulder and seeing like, well, who are you talking to in game? Are they PMing you?
Who are you
why don't they say all? Why don't they say all? You know,
I wonder if there's a danger too of like do you guys like what I would wonder about, because in a way, you know, my wife, and this is what she says, is like, well, somebody's got to run the household. You know, and there's a little bit of truth to that if I'm just sitting on my ass all weekend in front of the PC. Working, I should say.
Yes.
Working to earn her money. That if two people are like, do you ever think like, man, we should get up and stop doing this all day?
Oh, yeah.
That kind of stuff.
We actually do, you know, we do that, though. We make a point to, like this weekend was just beautiful.
Oh, yeah, you had to do that
I
this
don't think
weekend.
we maybe played an hour of games.
I think the fundamental difference between your situation and ours is that, like, all of us in the room are aware of just like how completely geeked out this stuff gets. And like, just, I mean, and it's like for us, I'm assuming there's places you don't go, you don't even start to try to explain a joke because you realize how much context. It's like, it's going to take me all day to set this up. By the time I get to the punchline, she'll be like, why is that funny?
Yeah.
But you like, both of you are like, why, we're laughing at this and we know why it's funny. Like, but is it really funny? I don't know. I'm just imagining like, it would be weird.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys, or you guys are both intimately aware of like how far you're going down the rabbit hole when you guys are.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I'm jealous.
I mean, I would like playing it off. To
I am jealous. So I would like once in a while to be able to have. I mean, I do have that experience with my kid, but it's rough when you got someone in the house who's just like, "What you're doing is a waste of time." You know, 24/7.
That's how you make your money.
Right. I'm not trying. I'm dissing my wife in public. This is bad for me.
Oh.
I love you, honey.
That's gonna be rough though. No matter. I mean, because I've had that too, and it's like it's similar to the like what you do is not work. And I'm thinking not so much of when we're playing games, but say when we're we have a rough week, a deadline, and we're basically writing at home, writing over the weekend, editing, preparing stuff for the next issue at the same time. In those days, you at least it's still very nice. Love it. I'd rather be doing it than so many other things. But at the same time. It's kind of in line too. It's just anytime someone you love just summarily dismisses a big chunk of what you're investing yourself in.
This is my career here. And to put it into some context, I mean, first of all, she's European.
So she wants you to play Rayman.
right. No, but also that's nothing. She's
either that or a soccer simulator.
What I was really going to say was she's a teacher. Okay, she's a high school teacher. So she's got to deal with.
She's not using DDR to teach the kids to lose weight.
Yeah, what I'm doing, what I do is like the enemy of what she does.
Right.
This is like why kids don't do their homework.
That's quite a dynamic relationship you've got there.
Yeah, we always say that she smartens them up and I dumb them down.
Yeah, it would be Judy Bloom or something else if it wasn't the games.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'd be Bratz.
What bugs me too is like every once in a while there is a game that I really think I'm like, this is the one. Like Katamari, I think, was one where I was like, this is so innovative and it's so cute and it's so friendly.
I knew better on that. The control
Her eyes just glaze. Well, not even to play it, but just to watch me play it. Just to acknowledge that there's something interesting happening here. I mean, the last thing she saw me play was Half-Life Episode 2 or Episode 1, and I was playing it and I was really into it. And it was like a good part of the story. And she walked by and like right then on the screen, there was, of course, something like horrible happening. Like I was using the gravity gun to like throw bricks at zombie heads.
Right.
Well, at least it wasn't a sin.
So she walked by that and she's like, "What is that?" Like in the most dismissive tone possible.
When you're not playing it, all you see is nothing but violence upon violence upon violence, and you don't see. I mean, now I got to go and defend what? Well, it's not just violence, but in the way that you're responding, you're like, "Whoa, did you see how that happened?" Or like, I got to figure out using the tools available to me how to get out of the situation. All they see is that if you're like watching a movie and it was like an endless clip of like highlights from like crusty old, like Puppet Master films and whatever, Trauma Studios.
Well, the scene was it was the part of the game where the ant lions are spawning endlessly, so you have to use the gravity car to move the cars over to Oops, the gravity gun, move the cars aren't there. I just spoiled one of the puzzles. Sorry. But anyway.
Alex is the one that says it like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, she does? I missed that.
She much clubs you over the head with it. Like,
Shit, she says that?
Yeah.
I didn't even hear it. I missed it. I thought I had to figure it out. But, so my wife was like dissing the game because the zombies are attacking you. And I was actually trying to mount this defense. Actually, it's kind of a logic puzzle.
Exploding zombie heads.
Yeah, all the time I try to sit there and defend